I'd like to welcome you to the book launch for American Mahjong for Everyone, published by Tuttle. We're so excited to usher this book into the Mahjong world. Gregg Swain, Toby Salk, and Woody Swain have put their hearts and souls into authoring the next great how-to manual for American Mahjong. First, a little Zoom housekeeping. This book launch is being recorded and attendees are being muted. Please type any questions into the Q&A window and we will try to answer them after the main interview. My name is Carrie Caprenis, and some of you also have my name on your screen. I'm sorry about that technical glitch, but I've had the greatest honor and pleasure of knowing both Toby and Gregg for many years. I live in New York and Los Angeles, and I'm lucky to have Mahjong as a constant in my life. It grounds me no matter where I am. For those of us who are already play the game, this pandemic has really shown us all how special and important our Mahjong lives are. We all miss our friends, the sound of the tiles, the snacks, and really our homegrown villages. It's also made us realize what a difference Mahjong has made in our lives. Learning how to play Mahjong is the jumping off point into the most wonderful world of lifelong friendships, with the additional priceless benefit that it keeps our brains elastic well into old age. We each have our own special Mahjong stories, but they all began with learning how to play. You know how we all have friends who we want to play with or who want to learn, but they're intimidated or a little hesitant? Well, this book is the perfect gift for them. Reading and learning from this book is a little bit like having the famous Mahjong teachers, Gregg and Toby, leaning over your shoulder and helping you with the Charleston. Now, if you don't know what the Charleston is, then you really need to have this book. For every player, there is someone special in their lives, and it's the person who introduced you to the tiles for the first time. My favorite quote is from Toby, and she always says, "Mahjong will change your life." No truer words were ever said. I can identify the moment that my life changed indelibly for the better. Thank you to sweet Lori Todd for changing my life forever. And with this book, the world will get to say that Gregg and Toby changed their lives too. I'm going to give you a little bio now on Team American Mahjong for Everyone. Many of you know Gregg, but here's her story. She's a native New Yorker through and through, and she's always had a fascination with Mahjong. But it wasn't until later that she took a deep dive into all things Mahjong. She really had a take no prisoners approach, and in a very short time, she's become one of the foremost authorities on the history and art of Mahjong. The beautiful book, Mahjong, The Art of the Game, that she wrote with Anne Israel and was also art directed by Woody Swain, is the definitive text on vintage Mahjong sets. Trust me, the book makes you want things you never knew you wanted. Gregg lectures all over the country and teaches in New York City. Toby Salk is a transplanted New Yorker and for more than a decade has been the San Francisco Bay Area teacher. As the doyenne of NorCal Mahjong, she's famous for her lectures, her classes in California and at the posh Rancho La Puerta Spa, her monthly brunches, and most recently famous for her, or maybe we should say infamous, and always sold out marijuana Mahjong events. If there's a way to make Mahjong even more fun, Toby will do it. Mahjong is in her DNA. She grew up to the dulcet sounds of the clackety-clack and honors her sweet mother by sharing Mahjong with the rest of the world. Woody Swain, in the Mahjong world, his claim to fame is that he's married to Gregg. But really, he is also an award-winning art director with over 30 years of experience on Madison Avenue. He created print and TV ads for such blue-chip companies as AT&T, Dr. Pepper, and Smirnoff. To this day, you can see his Colgate smile in ads and merchandising. His work is timeless, memorable, and enduring. In fact, his award-winning commercial for the United Negro College Fund still can make me weep. And for you Law & Order fans, Courtney B. Vance stars in this tearjerker. In American Mahjong for Everyone, Woody's whimsical illustrations are a visual treat. I just want to clip them out of the book, and you will too. And last, but by no means least, there's Jane. Jane Creech is Gregg and Woody's beloved literary agent. Thanks to Jane for her diligence, friendship, and behind-the-scenes work in getting American Mahjong for Everyone into print. Jane's steady guidance helped Team American Mahjong for Everyone get their book into the Library of Congress. So cheers to Tuttle, Gregg, Toby, Woody, and Jane. I'd like to start off by asking some questions of the American Mahjong for Everyone triumvirate. Gregg, can you please tell us what exactly is Mahjong?
That's such a great question, and it's very confusing to most people. But Mahjong really, when you say the word Mahjong, it's just like saying the word cards. People say, I like to play cards. People say they like to play Mahjong, but that doesn't really mean anything to most people. There are hundreds of ways to play Mahjong, and some people play Hong Kong Mahjong, some people play Wright-Patterson Mahjong. This book is about the American version of the game. All versions, as far as I know, have one goal in common, which is to put together certain patterns of tiles, certain combinations. And those combinations are called hands. And so everybody's goal is to put together a combination of tiles, a hand that they think they're going to be able to win with. And then when they put together a valid combination of tiles, a hand, they get to say one of the most exciting words in the world, which is Mahjong. Trust me, there's a huge adrenaline rush when you say that. And now with this book, American Mahjong for Everyone, a lot more people are going to be able to say that word about the American version of the game.
Thank you, Gregg. Toby, can you tell us what's different about the American version of the game? And that's what this book is all about.
This version, American style Mahjong, is very different from all the other styles. The National Mahjong League in New York City puts out a card every single year. Here's the card. And every single year, you have what we call hands that we're making combinations. And here they are. And every single year on April 1st, these hands change. And for people who play Mahjong, it's a really exciting time because the card comes and everybody calls each other, did you get your card? Did you get your card? And we're all excited. And did you see that hand? I love that one. This one's back. And it's just a really great thing because it rejuvenates everybody when you get this new card. One of the other differences of American Mahjong to all the others is that we play typically putting our tiles on a rack in front of ourselves, and many other styles we don't use a rack. So it's pretty different from the other games and very, very exciting and fun.
Thank you, Toby. Gregg, there are a lot of other Mahjong how-to books on the market. What makes this book so special, and why did you guys decide to embark on this project? Is there a secret sauce that you want to share with us?
Well, there are lots of good books out on the market, but we thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we could have a website that's connected with the book? So we have a website, so our book is always going to be timely. So I think that's very important. And I think this might be the only book where two people have written the same book. So you get to really learn from two different people. So I think that's important too. We also have something special in the book. It's our timeless card. And Toby showed you the one from the National Mahjong League, which changes every year. This is the timeless card, so it's not tied into a year, and it's actually tied into our century. So if everybody's still reading this book in 101 years, we might have to design another card for the next century. But in the meantime, this is our card, and if people don't want to cut up their book, on the website, there's a PDF that they can download and they can print up the card too. And so Woody's illustrations are also super helpful to people and really make everything very, very clear, I think.
That's pretty much the secret sauce right there, all those illustrations and special bonuses with the card. So Woody, that brings us to you. I think your illustrations are part of what makes this book so special. Can you show us some of your favorite examples from the book?
Today is the launch of the book and the website. And what I want to do for the first time, you're going to see just some of the 100 types of illustrations in the book. There are drawings and diagrams. And all the time you're learning this, they're all designed to help you learn the game taught by Toby and Gregg. That's the diagrams take you through it while they're sort of over your table teaching you how to play. And all that time while you're playing, as Carrie said a while ago, to paraphrase Einstein, energy equals mahjong. Energy really makes mahjong work. I want to talk about the book itself a little. It's a hardback, and it's designed to lie flat so that when you're learning the game, you don't have to, put a rock or scissors onto the page. It will lie flat as you're going over the steps with Gregg and Toby. And this chapter 3, building the walls and dealing the tiles, takes you through. This is an example of the diagrams taking you through the steps. Now, I don't have the text with these, but here the tiles are face down, and the ready to build the walls. The dice are tossed. The wall is broken. I'm just going through this. And the wall is cut like a deck of cards, so there's no cheating. And the players start taking their tiles, and I think you can see, I've taken some of the steps out. The steps, just for simplicity here, but how it guides you through this step. So we've also designed, as Gregg said, we also have a set of tiles in the book that you can cut out. And for all you newcomers to the game, don't be intimidated by these icons, because they're all explained in chapter 2. And just briefly, I'll show you a few things. The top is the crack suit, followed by the winds, the dragons, and then the flowers on the lower right there, and jokers on the bottom. And then the remaining 2 suits are the dots and the bams. And you can see this thing in the lower left-hand corner. This is a 1 bam, which is usually the prettiest, or it's supposed to be the prettiest tile in the set, and maybe the most coveted, and the set is designed around it. And I hope this one I put together is worthy. A 1 bam is almost always, not always, but 99% of the time, a bird. It could be an owl, a pheasant, a sparrow, you name it, a parrot. Here I've made it a peacock. And so, but the one thing about a BAM is invariably a 1 BAM is always a bird, usually, just about always. But tell that to these 2 bird watchers. And she said to her husband, it's not a crane, it's a 1 BAM. So that's it for a while. I'll see you in a minute, but I just hope some of these things have sort of whetted your appetite for the book, and I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you, Woody. So Gregg, having the tile set like paper doll cutouts, it's really an innovation for a Mahjong how-to book. What made you guys decide to include that as a bonus?
Well, I think that a lot of people don't play Mahjong because they don't want to spend money on a Mahjong set when they don't even know if they're going to like the game. So we put a Mahjong tile set in the book so that the very minute the people, the readers, get the book, they can start to play. They don't have to worry about anything else. And so people can either cut up the back of the book, or once again on the website, we've got a PDF that people can use in order to print up their tile set at home and keep the book intact. But
I also saw today on Instagram how you made racks out of a piece of paper. So that is an additional thing that you can put on the website.
right.
Speaking of the website, Toby, it's such a great resource in addition to the book. It just goes hand in hand. Can you expand a little bit about what we can find on the website?
Well, we have an advantage of having the internet, and most of the other books that have been written were written pre-internet. They were a long time ago. And so what we're able to do, having a website connected to the book, is we're able to keep it really up to the minute. We're able to talk about the new card. We're able to give you resources. We're able to guide you in questions that you might want to ask. So it's a really exciting thing, because that's one of the definitive parts that makes our book so unique, to have this website. It's a really exciting thing.
I can't wait to check it out. So, Gregg, this pandemic has been bittersweet in so many ways. And when it comes to Mahjong, it's really made me miss and appreciate my Maj squad even more. But at least we can play online. So, do you have any cyber tips for beginning and even more advanced players?
Right. Well, I just wanted to mention the online games that are just so popular now. We miss our groups so very much that we can at least connect with them online. And there was one site where I was the other day where there were 24,000 people at 6,000 tables. I mean, so that's pretty crazy. It goes to show how important the game is to us. People play in Zoom, people play and do conference calls, etc. But so beginners shouldn't be intimidated by the online sites because the online sites can be very user friendly. If you're a beginner, you can go onto these websites and play against robots. The robots don't care how long it takes you to make up your mind. You don't need to feel scared, and you have time to put together your hand, and you can start to really feel comfortable with the game. There are other websites that even guide you into the direction that you might think about for your hand. So they're very helpful for beginners. And then for advanced players who might be thinking about going to tournaments, they can play against robots and try to play really, really quickly. So I think these online websites have just been an absolute godsend to us during this pandemic.
I couldn't agree more. And also, everyone, when you play with the bots, if you need to take a potty break, they don't really mind. So they're very patient. Let's see, Toby, one of my favorite parts of the book is G&T time. How did that come about? And here's a spoiler alert, Woody's G&T illustration is one of my absolute favorites. And of course, in real life, I'm a G&T girl at heart, so these sections just tickled me.
So G&T time is Gregg and Toby time. And what Gregg and I really wanted was for you to feel our presence. We wanted you to not feel the daunting emotions that can come up with learning something new, that can come up with learning something that might be complex or a bit overwhelming at the beginning. And so we wanted you to feel like we were over your shoulder, giving you our warmth and our stories. And sometimes Gregg does something one way, sometimes I do something a different way. So you get to hear these little stories of how one might do it versus another person might do it. And you get to feel our warmth and our humor. So we felt like that was really important to not just read a book that might be rote and a little boring, but we really get to interject our personalities into this book, which we think is really great.
I do love that. And I think it also goes to show that there's no one right answer in any choice of which tile to take or which to keep. So it's really fun to read how Gregg and Toby approach things. Let's see, Gregg, what do you want to tell the people who think that the game is too complicated and they're intimidated by all of these rules, the cards, the etiquette? I know I always say it's 60-40 luck to skill, so a newbie could beat me on any given day, and they very often do on Mahjong time.
Well, clearly there is an element of luck that's part of the game. And the saying is that if you're playing against people who are at your level, you will only be winning 20% of the time. So people shouldn't feel upset if they're not winning every game, because they really should only be winning 20% of the time.
It's 1 in 5.
Yes, 1 in 5. Woody's illustrations are so clear that I think it really makes it easy for people who might have been intimidated before to actually be able to follow all steps of the game. And I will just throw out that I've been studying a lot about Mahjong and superstitions from around the world. And I'm not going to share any of those superstitions with you today because I'm going to keep them for myself. I want to win the game.
I'll never tell your secrets, Gregg. Toby, can you talk a little bit about the community that Mahjong brings to us? I know, for example, there are over 25,000 members on a Facebook group started by Johnny that's called Mahjong That's It. So there are these large communities of everyone that plays Mahjong, and then there are all these little small ones that are so special to us. Do you want to address that, Toby?
Yeah. I have to give a shout out to Johnny Levine because She really is one of the people in the United States today who has brought Mahjong to the forefront. A Facebook site with over 25,000 followers is pretty remarkable. And you can go on the site, Mahjong That's It, and you can ask anything about Mahjong, and you will have all kinds of answers, which is really exciting, and that never existed before. And the way I see community in the Mahjong world is it's very personal for me. My grandmother, my mother, my Aunt Alice, my Aunt Rose, everybody played. And so I really did grow up with it. I had it all around me. But one thing I have found is that the people you play Mahjong with, whether it's your family, whether it's new friends, they become your family. People play together for 20, 30 years. They know each other's stories and secrets, and they tell each other everything at the Mahjong table. And I do say Mahjong will change your life, and it really will change your life. And it will change your life because it becomes this incredible community for yourself. No matter what's going on in your life, you'll always have your Mahjong community. It's a very, very special place to be.
So this book is going to help usher many more people into the wonderful world of Mahjong. So I encourage everyone to go out, buy it for your friends, buy it for yourself so that someone in your house can learn how to play it. It's funny times, but it's a great time for this book to come out during the pandemic because it's hard to teach people, person to person. They can start with a book, and this pandemic is not going to stop Gregg, Woody, and Toby from signing books. I think that Gregg is going to address something right now.
Right. Well, I have a little G&T time. It's a book plate, and people can contact us through Instagram, etc., and we will be able to send them a book plate. So, and it'll be signed by Gregg and Toby, and then Woody's going to do his little WS up there in the corner. But the pandemic, it really is a perfect time to learn Mahjong because you can't learn it from a teacher right now. So if you want to learn Mahjong, our book is the way to do it. And if you already play Mahjong, teach somebody else in your house and play it together. Or if nobody plays, buy the book and learn together and play. As long as there are 2 people in a room, you can be playing Mahjong.
Thank you. So we've pretty much gone through some of the questions. We now are going to look at the Q&A, and there's a great question here. And Toby, if you could answer this, that would be great. Just very simply, what's the address of the website?
Gregg, you should give that one.
Okay.
It's because Toby is giving me credit for the most ridiculous thing in the world, which is the simplest website. AmericanMahjongForEveryone.com. I thought it up, so I really should have credit for it. And thanks to Dara and Donna for Mahjong, because they suggested that we also buy American Mahjong for Everyone with only 1 G. So thank you, Dara and Donna, for that one. So basically, however you spell Mahjong, you'll be able to get to our website.
5 hours.
Good thing for those modern Mahjong ladies. They really have been a boon to this Mahjong community. So thank you, Dara and Donna. Another question from Lynn Caffrey. I've gotten so used to playing online. Do you think it will be difficult for us to return to playing in person?
Well, I'd like to answer that because Lynn is one of my people. And I don't know if people know this, but once a month I host a brunch. And so, of course, when I have that brunch again, I'm hoping it's going to be packed with everybody playing together in person. And I have to say, the food is off the charts, and you can't do that on Zoom.
Well, we are finding other ways to gain those 15 quarantine pounds. But I think it's going to be so amazing for us to return to playing with our people and playing with new people. So if you don't know how to play, you can buy this book and be ready to go in and play with people. Here's another question from Michelle. Should I buy a Mahjong set now, Gregg?
I would say don't buy a Mahjong set unless you already know how to play Mahjong. And when you're ready to buy a set, spend a little bit of time familiarizing yourself with what's out there. Our website can guide you to some great resources if you want a vintage set. Vintage, I say, is anything from the 20s on to when I was born, because then after that it becomes a new set. That's kind of a joke. But anyway, so you might want an older set, you might want a newer set, but feel comfortable with the type of set you want and just really try to fall in love with the set. I think that's what's most important, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with your set. It's going to become a friend.
This has been a wonderful book launch.